Hey Pisces, welcome to your soul alignment reading where we'll get you back in sync with your higher self and what your soul truly wants. So we'll start with taking a peek at the overall energy surrounding this reading for you guys. And the first card that we have out for you is Beltane, Fertility. And so super interesting. I feel like another sign, I think it was Aquarius, got that same card for their overall energy, but let's see what else is surrounding my Pisces collective for their soul alignment reading. What else is happening with my Pisces collective? Okay, we have Ostara, Fertility. It is the perfect time for you to start new projects, access new ideas, and give birth to new conditions. So, Pisces, you literally have two fertility cards that came out for the overall energy in this reading. So there's something that you're ready to birth, something that you are ready to nurture. It feels like the environment is right, like it's the right time for you to do this. So maybe this is your opportunity now to sort of tap in and think about those things that you have wanted to do, those things that you may have had your eye on, that you've been thinking about for a little while and not really sort of taken those next steps on, that you haven't really put a whole lot of effort into. Now seems to be a good time to really start exploring what it is that you truly want to do for the next steps in your life's journey. So not a whole lot more to be said about that. Like, the soil is fertile, the environment is ready for you, but let's see how we can get you to take the most advantage of that. So getting into some tarot and starting by taking a peek at seeing how you can best get into alignment with what it is that your soul truly wants. We have a couple that came out. We have the Four of Scrolls, the Karmic Trench, and we also have the Eight of Forces, the Lightning Bolt. So in traditional tarot, these loosely translate into the Four of Wands or the Four of Swords and the Eight of Wands. So with the Four of Scrolls, this is a little bit of a time of rest, right? There's not a whole lot going on when it comes to what it is that you're thinking about doing. It doesn't feel as though there's been any action that's been taken. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because I think that this energy is so sort of raw, it's unformed right now, that it's probably best to not necessarily rush into it. Even though the environment is good, it almost feels like there's a bit of a cautious, measured energy that's around this. So really sort of taking your time, right? And the Karmic Trench is something, it's almost like you don't want to dig yourself into something too deep and end up, paying dues or learning lessons that you ordinarily wouldn't have to learn if you'd have taken sort of a more measured and strategic approach to this. So with the Eight of Forces or the Eight of Wands, that's really about movement, right? So it's finding this balance for you between sort of staying stuck where you are and a lack of movement and rushing full force into whatever it is that you're looking to do. So the best way for you to get into alignment right now with what it is that you've been thinking about is to be very structured and to sort of moderate yourself. Give yourself time to think through what this looks like. Give yourself some time to map out what your next steps are going to be in this endeavor. So finding, again, that balance between charging forward and not doing anything at all. There's a happy medium to be had right there. So it's going to be pretty important, I think, for you to find that middle ground. Now, what it is that your soul wants next on this path, look at this that came out for you. We have Byth, or birth. So you have two fertility cards for your overall energy. And now what your soul really wants is birth. It wants to bring this idea to fruition. We don't get notions, put in our subconscious if it's not what was meant for us. What we need to do is sort of take inspired action, right? thinking through what it is that we truly want and being open enough to opportunities that come our way that we can take advantage of that will get us closer to that. So deep down, I think whatever this is that you've been thinking about, you really, really want. You want to explore. You want to see the possibilities of what could be. And we have that clarified by the light of the world. So it almost feels as though whatever this endeavor is, it has the absolute potential to change your worldview, the way that people look at you. It has the possibility of doing some good. And so I think with 10 cards, they really represent closure or endings. But with every ending, coming alongside of it is a new beginning. So I think that your spirit, your soul deep down really wants to close out one chapter of your life and start a new journey. Something that is going to be super exciting for you, something that is going to be a lot more meaningful to you than whatever it is that you've been doing before. So let's say that, for example, you've been working, a corporate job or something like that, and it feels like you're a little bit of a cog in the wheel. Well, there might be times where you think about the knowledge that you've gained or the experience that you had and thinking about, well, how can I use this to not just benefit myself, but to benefit people in society or do something that's for the greater good of all. So, maybe let's say that you're a chef or something like that, right? Working for a restaurant or a hotel. And you may be thinking, well, how can I take these skills that I've had to start an endeavor where I feed the homeless, So it's sort of taking what you already know and transforming it, creating something new from it. So I just, there's a lot of optimism. There's a lot of hope that I'm feeling in your reading right now, but it's almost a question of, well, how do I do it? And so it's like, it's not a question of like, well, I should just quit my job right now and just go for it. But then it's like, how am I going to pay the bills in the meantime? And so then you fall back into this place of just not doing anything at all. Like things just remain a thought. So I think your soul really wants to move forward. The biggest question right now is, how do you do that? How do you do that in a responsible way where you don't just completely upend your life, but you're able to start exploring this thing that you've been envisioning for yourself for a while. So the changes that you may think about making as you consider this next phase of your existence, we're starting with the King of Keys, which is the King of Pentacles in traditional tarot. And so the King of Pentacles is a very, very stable energy. They're very, very measured. It's not like the King of Wands or the King of Cups where they're sort of only acting on emotion or passion, or even the King of Swords where they might have the tendency to sort of just lean on intellect, to the detriment of every other emotion. The King of Keys is a very, very balanced energy. They look for the sort of tangibles. They don't just jump into something because it's exciting or it's something that they absolutely love, but they try and sort of combine everything. It's like, well, how can I do this in a practical matter? And so making sure that you think things through, that you map out your plan, that you think very strategically about where it is that you're going, and figure out how to execute it in a way that will make sure that you sort of maintain your grounding and stability. And I think more than anything else, making sure that you also maintain your finances with whatever this is. So this isn't a situation where you take all of your savings or you take all of your investments and you cash them out and you just go throw them at whatever this idea is that you have, but making sure that you are able to sustain yourself while also putting some energy, effort, and resources towards this idea that you've had. And we have that clarified also by the Akashic Library. So the Akashic Library is where everything about you is stored. Your current life, your past lives, and your lives beyond that. This is where you have all of your lessons. This is where you gain all of your knowledge. So there's a lot of thoughtfulness that's surrounding this reading for you. Even though the environment is good, it doesn't mean that you should be reckless about how you approach opportunities and how you sort of approach your next steps on this path. So again, there's a lot of temperance, there's a lot of measured steps that are in here for you. So no knee-jerk reactions, no impulsive decisions, no none of that. Wow. Okay, we're going to take the card that flipped over. We are not going to take all of the rest of these that slid out. But what we have here is the Four of Forces, spring and autumn. So this is really looking at how you can listen to what it is that your soul desires. And the Four of Forces is the Four of Wands in traditional tarot. And it's really about foundations. It's about opening the door. It doesn't say that you run through the door. It just says that you open the door and you start building. This is a card of commitment. It's a card about sort of creating this platform that you can build on over time. And so I think that while your intuition and what it is that you truly want is following this idea, this desire that you've had for some time, but again, doing it in a very, very smart way. This is opening the door to possibilities. This is exploration, going into this garden that's so fertile and making sure that you're in a good place to sort of plant the seeds, and over time you'll be able to harvest them. And we have that clarified by will, wisdom, and mind. So Pisces, so much thoughtfulness that's coming through for you. So here we have the foundation card, the gateway card, right? Where you're opening the door and you're sort of taking inventory of what's out there and what it is that you need to do going forward. But we also have here will, which is making sure that you're able to sort of sustain this over time. And often when we do things very impulsively, when we act on our emotions, it's not necessarily a sustainable endeavor. So making sure that you have the will to actually see this through to the end. Wisdom, being smart about it, right? Making sure that you don't find yourself in a position where you're learning lessons or you have to experience lessons that you wouldn't have had to learn if you'd have taken a more tempered approach. And with your mind, being smart about it, making sure that you don't let those emotions take over and drive you. Doing things in a very strategic and structured way is going to be what works out best for you. So no matter how excited you get about these fertile grounds and being ready to birth something new, it's going to be important for you to take baby steps, just a little bit at a time. It's like, what's that saying? It's like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So this is your one bite at a time moment, Pisces. You don't have to do everything all at once. Now, another message from Spirit that we have: in every moment, the universe is conspiring to bring me toward right-minded thinking and the energy of love. So this is really, you sort of keeping your wits about you. The seed has already been planted in your mind about what it is that you want to do, what it is that you sort of envision for yourself, this idea that has yet to be brought to fruition. But I think in taking that balanced approach, the universe is going to continue to guide you. And as you get your feet underneath you, then you can be a little bit more excited because you have a plan in place. And you're going to be able to see each of those little steps being executed in this plan along this path. And I feel at that point, your love, your energy, your excitement, your passion is going to grow, but you're going to need this firm foundation under you so that you don't have this roller coaster where you get excited and then crash, get excited and then crash. It's almost like, okay, I'm building my foundation. Oh, look, we're building another layer, another layer, another layer. Wow, this is great. Another layer. And that I feel is how this is going to proceed for you. So Pisces, be smart, be measured, be strategic, and you are going to build a foundation that over time is going to be absolutely everything that you dreamed of. So that's what I got for you guys. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.